again. How are
How
you?
are you? I'm doing so well. How are you?
Great. It's so good to see you.
It's
Hi,
been forever. I
Josie.
feel like
Wow.
this
Aw,
pandemic just makes everybody feel so disconnected. So it's so nice to catch up.
I know it is great to get to catch up and see you guys too. I miss seeing everybody in person. I can't wait until we can be together again.
What is this room, Tenille? Is this like your recording
Yeah, where are
studio?
you
Is
right now?
this
This is my Zoom room. No, I'm kidding. It's my 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 music room in my little house here, and I've got my desk over here on the side that I've got my laptop on. I've learning how to record things this past year, getting very creative and innovative, I guess. Got my
like we all have?
guitars
Yeah.
on the wall,
It's hard to like learn how to produce things and put things together. I got one of those little MIDI keyboards and I like try to make
Nice.
little songs and it's just so difficult to do.
It is a whole skill. It really does make me appreciate all of the incredible producers and engineers that I've gotten to work with because I'm like, this stuff is very difficult, but I'm doing my best. It is fun to learn something new though, so that's been great this past year.
We all should have done that during the pandemic. I just feel like I'm one of the only people who didn't. Is that your music room? Is that where you put your Junos and your ACM wins? Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
it is all so surreal. I have a bookcase, sorry, downstairs that I've got them sitting there, and I can't wait for the Juno. That's just still so wild, so crazy.
You ever walk by it and have to remember that you're in your own home? Like, oh, those are mine.
Oh yeah, it's weird. It's very weird to me. Every time I see them, I'm like, huh, okay. It's like it's just very strange and wonderful, but just weird.
I don't know if you saw this clip floating around on social media, but I was chatting with Keith Urban a few months ago and I said, is there a Canadian that you want to collaborate with? And he brought you up. And one of the things he loved was that you sling your guitar down real low. Like he couldn't glow enough about how you rock the guitar on stage.
That is so cool. I can't even believe that that is something he mentioned. And I mean, I have just been such a fan of his music for so long, and I got to go to a few of his concerts when growing up in Grand Prairie, we'd make the road trips up to Edmonton or Calgary to see him, and I always just loved the way that he would move that guitar around. So definitely a hero of mine in the guitar world and beyond. He's just such a joyful, incredible human being, and I love his spirit so much.
Speaking of guitars, I was talking to him about how you do your lyrics basically on your guitar, like right on the, and he it blew his mind because for his latest album, he was doing the same thing. And he's like,
Yes.
she does that? No way.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so awesome that you mentioned that. But yeah, I love that he does that. I got to open a show for him in Vegas last year before everything had shut down, and I was sneaking around backstage, like kind of looking through all the guitar road cases, and I saw the one that had the lyrics on of the record or around the outside, and I was like, oh my gosh, we do the same thing. This is so cool.
So do you just like write them on the guitar?
I've so the my first guitar from the lemonade stand, I had actually mapped out with a friend of mine, Louis Lavoie, who's from St. Albert in Alberta, and he comes up to Big Hearts for Big Kids every year and does this mural painting for us, and he's a remarkable artist. And when I had this idea to get a guitar that would become the time capsule for the record, I was like, it has to be Louis. So I convinced him to come and visit me in Nashville, and I got to sit beside him and tell him where I wanted all the lyrics and
Oh,
symbols,
that's so cool.
and so it was really cool to get to watch him paint on it. And then this year, with everything travel wise, it's a little difficult to fly Lewis here. So I got a ruler and I went to Michael's and I got some paint pens and I was like, I can do this. And I was channeling as much of my inner artist as I could. And it was kind of terrified because it feels like I've got it right here. It feels like you're like committing, to this hardcore thing. But
Oh,
this
that's
is my little
awesome.
sunrise. It turned out not too bad. I'm really excited about it. So,
That's really cool.
but
I feel
yeah,
like a lot of people are like one or the other, like you're musical, but then you can't draw. So it looks like you can do both. That's really cool.
I don't know about draw, but straight lines and color in. I've got it covered over here.
That's sweet.
And so do you have the lyrics yet anywhere, or is it just the sunrise yet for the new music coming out?
Just the sunrise for the beginning of the new one. This one we're gonna kind of keep tattooing as we go. So I'm hoping to get some different artists to kind of contribute on here. And I'm actually about to write some lyrics in coming up next week. So we're gonna start the next phase of the keep the guitar rolling.
Well, speaking of lyrics, Josie, you really connected to the new single "Girl Who Didn't Care." We were listening to it together today, and you started into this
Yes.
whole thing that I know you wanted to talk to Tenille about.
Well, we played it in the studio, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because I don't know where your inspiration was drawn from this particular song, but I know that like a lot of my girlfriends and I, we kind of like openly talk about going to therapy, and one of the recurring themes when it comes to like being kinder to yourself is like speaking to your inner child and like sit next to your inner child and like open your heart to like that young girl, and maybe you'll be nicer to you because that's who you still are. And
yes, that's so
about,
good.
like,
I love that so much.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like when you were saying about the girl who didn't care and going back to the girl in like the little yellow rain boots and stuff, like where is that kind of along the lines of where your inspiration came from?
Yes, I mean reflecting about, I think this year has in all the sort of isolation and time to kind of reflect and think about things and work on things, and all of us, that's definitely something that's come up for me in thinking about that little kid that I used to be. And I feel like I've been walking a lot this year, like pacing my neighborhood, and something about putting one foot in front of the other just feels so therapeutic for me too. So I've heard like kids laughing in their backyard, and you know, looking at all the different sidewalk chalk art as I'm passing by, and something about that just kind of made me think about the courage that we have as little kids who just believe in anything, who don't care what anybody else says or thinks, you know, doesn't care how far a crazy dream is away. And to me, I feel like I owe so much gratitude to the courage that I had as that 7-year-old kid, you know, singing along in the backseat to Shania Twain and dreaming of getting to wake up and do the thing that I'm doing now. And I would not be here without her courage. And I think I've been on a journey this last little while to kind of find more of that again. And I think it really does still exist in all of us, you know, and it's important to hold on to that. So it was really fun to get to write a song about that. And I recorded the vocals right here in this music room and sent them across the distance. I wrote the song with 2 friends over Zoom that I'm so glad to work with, that I still hadn't met in person. And so it's all come from such a crazy time, but I'm really excited.
What do you
about
think
the song.
little 7-year-old Tenille would say to you now? If you could think about what she would say to future you, what do you think she would say?
That's a good question. I mean, I think she'd say, "This is so cool." She'd be like, "Wow, I just can't believe it." I think about that when I'm, you know, I had a moment getting to watch one of the shows at the Grand Ole Opry that I played, and I was standing side stage just going, I mean, my 7-year-old self would be dying. She would be losing her mind. And even just getting to open up for so many of my heroes on the road and watching their show. That's one of my favorite things to do, is watch the headliners. And I usually try to sneak to front of house, and I'm, you know, standing in the arena watching, and you see all the little girls like standing on their chairs so that they can see from the floor level. And I'm like, man, that was me. I was just dying to be up there someday. So
that's like a huge testament to you and like what you've become and who you are. And like any adult, really, if you can look back at your young self and be like, they'd be so excited to get here, you know, even though there's hard moments on the way. If you can look back at your like young version and be like, she'd be stoked on me right now. It probably feels like it's that way.
And it's like helpful to think of in also this. So I get caught up so easy in like the voices in my head that maybe aren't so kind, or, you know, doubting things, or going, you know, something that really is kind of a small deal feels like such a big, important, stressful thing. And it's like, she'd be like, calm down, it's all good, everything's great, you know? Yeah. So I think there's so much to learn from that part of us.
Let's grab some ice cream and listen to Shania, and all our problems are fixed. What more do we need in life, right?
Let's do it. Count me in.
Tenille, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to hear what else is planned. I know the new single is coming. I can't wait to hear what else is planned. And hopefully sooner rather than later, we get to see you back in your home province. But all the best.
I can't wait. I seriously am dying to get to come and play back at home and see everybody and hug everybody. And so as soon as we possibly can, I promise we'll be playing some shows up there very soon. I can't wait.
Congrats on everything. Thank you for making us proud back here. You're just an absolute rock star to look up to, and we just love following what you're doing. So
thanks, you guys. It means so much. Sending you both a hug. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
See
We'll
ya.
see you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for the chat.
Thanks.